seconds left on the shot clock, and so you're out of an offensive rhythm. And so that is going to be their goal, to take South Carolina out of their rhythm for the entire game.
The Pirates will get first possession. Their offense averaging 66.3 per game, and an early turnover for East Carolina.
And honestly, Sania Johnson was wide open off of that UCLA cut. She could have had herself an easy basket to start this game.
Gamecocks average 77 per game, shooting 44% from the field, 31% from three. And three players averaging double digits. Another with just under 10 a game. They can spread it around. And there's Bree Hall. First points of the game, and it's a three from the senior guard out of Dayton, Ohio.
You can tell that South Carolina had prepped themselves for ECU's matchup. That 1-2-2 is pesky, where they trap in different areas of the floor. It morphs. It has man-to-man principles. So it's always hard to get yourself going in it. But you could see right there, they were ready to throw the first punch offensively.
Bree Hall, who averages 6.3 per game so far. The fourth three made of the season. She's now 4 for 10. Here's your starting five for the Gamecocks. Tina Pow-Pow, Bree Hall, Raven Johnson, Chloe Kitts, and Sanaya Fagan. Raven Johnson runs the show for South Carolina. Redshirt junior out of Atlanta. Here's Kitts. 2 straight double-doubles for Chloe Kitts. Trying to find some space. Defended by Weish. Tie up. And it will remain South Carolina basketball.
You can see Chloe Kitts fighting, trying to get herself the opening she needed to score, but you can also see that Weish did a great job of staying vertical, making it tough for her to get her second chance point.
An open look for Johnson. Back iron. And here comes Joyner the other way for the Pirates. Joyner had 10 points and 6 rebounds in the matchup last season against South Carolina. Another turnover, their second. All hands off to Johnson. Raven, the shot not falling so far this season, but she's been doing other things. Rebounding the ball effectively, distributing it as well. Pow-Pow gets the bounce.
Beautiful floater from Pow-Pow. And to touch on the Raven Johnson point that you made there, she does a fantastic job of playing defense on the primary ball handler, making them uncomfortable to get themselves in their offensive sets.
Weish trying to get it inside to Joyner. And it's the third turnover already for East Carolina.
East Carolina is trying to be as traditional as possible, getting that ball inside so that they can get themselves some freedom on the perimeter. But right now, South Carolina is doing a great job of rotating defensively and also putting pressure on the passer to make it tough to get the ball entered into the post.
And all 5 of their points have come off Pirate turnovers. 10 seconds for Pow-Pow. She'll drive baseline. Hall swings it to Johnson, corner 3. It's short. Here comes Sania Johnson the other way. Shot no good from Kaya Miller. And a jump ball will stay with East Carolina. Trying to capitalize in transition, John, just unable to get it done.
I mean, I'm going to give that gift to Pow-Pow. I mean, she did a great job of baiting the pass and was being ready for that next pass and went up vertical to contest the shot and make it tough instead of it being an easy layup.
Tiana Weish, the senior forward out of Fort Lauderdale. Now Sania Johnson. Tried to feed Weish. It's another turnover for East Carolina. And Johnson swings it up to Kitts. Pow-Pow finds Fagan.
The size and length of South Carolina is becoming overwhelming for ECU.
It's a 7-0 lead early on. Hurt runs out of room and she travels. 5th turnover for East Carolina. And that will prompt some substitutions, John, for the Pirates.
Right now It's a 7-0 lead. I like to go back on that Sania Johnson missed opportunity off of that UCLA cut. I'm telling you, when you see the ball go in the basket once, it helps you with that rhythm. And so obviously you're not going to get as many opportunities as you normally get against most teams, but you're playing against South Carolina. You have to take advantage of every offensive opportunity that you can get.
Talia Weish now in for the Pirates. Hutton as well. Missed from in close. East Carolina trying to get on the scoreboard here, trailing 7-0. Number of turnovers early on. Johnson. Talia Weish, twin sister of Tatiana. Hutton against Kitts. Wild shot, that's no good. And a rebound for Chloe Kitts. Chloe averaging 12 rebounds per game this season. That's her third already. Pow Pow. Feeds Hall. Down low to Kitts. And stepped on the end line.
You notice both of these teams do similar things defensively and offensively, trying to apply pressure on your primary ball handlers, just swarming on the defensive end. You just tell that South Carolina's been doing it a little bit longer.
Ashlyn Watkins in for the Gamecocks. The freshman Joyce Edwards in as well. And the fan favorite, Mylasia Fulwiley. Sania Johnson on the drive. Oh, she's denied by Pow Pow.
Those are those situations where details matter. And one thing that you could see was Pow Pow was able to get through the ball screen. So it's just a straight up one-on-one. Usually you use a ball screen to get an advantage, a little bit of an edge past your primary defender. But if you don't use that screen and get hit, then it doesn't work. And so Pow Pow was just able to make sure that she got through it.
Riley tried to feed Hall with the return pass. It's knocked out of play. So unselfish, John, but maybe could have finished there herself.
Yeah, and you got to give your hats off to Herb, too, who did a great job of just getting back on defense in transition.
Swing it to Pow Pow. Oh, great look inside to Ashlyn Watkins. Ball movement, John, superb so far for South Carolina.
Fantastic job of dissecting that 1-2-2. Got the ball to the corner where the double team comes. Got it to the high post off of a hard flash, and then got a high-low action.
Trying to get it inside to Weish. Foul's going to be called on Ashlyn Watkins. Her first.
You take a look at it. Corner, high post, high to low. Easy basket for South Carolina. It's a textbook.
Against Coppin State. And any one of these Gamecocks, John, they can kill you on any given night.
Yeah, we talk about the depth, right? And not only the depth, but also the ability to adapt to whatever's given to you. One day you might say, let's guard Chloe Kitts, let's get her out of there. All right, so now Pow Pow goes off. Let's take Pow Pow out. And then you see Fulwiley getting after it. And so there's so many different players on this roster that can step up when called.
Defensive effort from Ashlyn Watkins and the 6th turnover for the Pirates. Hall on the drive, feeds Watkins.
Just talking about the growth of Ashlyn Watkins, when she first got here, she would not have been able to make that type of finish, extending over that left shoulder and still being able to find a way, the right place on the glass to kiss it so it can go right in.
Another turnover, and ahead of the pack, it's Pow Pow. Timeout, East Carolina. 7 turnovers for the Pirates. John, they've led to 11 South Carolina points, 11 of their 13.
Absolutely, you see it there. Ashlyn Watkins finishing, kissing it right off the glass, and then another defensive opportunity leading the offense with Tahina Pow Pow getting herself a fast break layup.
South Carolina has a 13-0 lead over East Carolina, jumping all over the Pirates. And Coach McNeil told us about this matchup. He said, hey, they're not the #1 team in the country for nothing, but they were excited about this opportunity to come down to Columbia and play. She said this is what you put on a uniform for, to be able to go into an arena that's sold out, to play against some of the best players in the country. Just wants to compete, John. She said, I'm really big on competing, so that's what I'm watching for. How hard are we going to compete? How hard are we going to execute our offense, do it the right way? Try not to make something happen that's not there. They want to slow it down a bit and lessen the possessions of South Carolina. But so far, it's been an offensive struggle for the Pirates.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get any continuity going in their offense. And a lot of that is because of the on-ball pressure. And when you feel that pressure, it makes it really difficult for you to run your sets. But this is perfect for ECU, especially trying to come back and get to the championship of the AAC and come home with a W.
Edwards running the floor. Edwards coming off a 10.6 rebound performance against Coppin State. She's averaging 9.3 per game this season. It's a good look inside to Talia Weish and one.
That was one of the few times we've been able to see ECU's offense actually circulate to something positive. Talia Weish doing a great job of establishing position against Ashlyn Watkins and being able to finish strong with the contact.
And Weish will head to the line, averaging 7.3 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. She's an 86% free throw shooter. Zadell Tapp checks in for the first time. Weish had 9 points and 6 rebounds on Thursday against Furman, unable to finish the three-point play. The rebound is tipped to Hall. Some pressure from the Pirates. Johnson, a preseason second-team All-SEC selection. Was second-team All-SEC last season. Edwards looking for some space inside. Tack keeps it alive. Here's Johnson. Edwards. Weish hits the deck and a whistle. That'll go against South Carolina.
You could see how many times South Carolina got opportunities to at least get some daylight at the basket.
Coach McNeil in her 6th season. Back-to-back appearances in the AAC Tournament Championship game for Coach McNeil. She was the 2022-23 AAC Coach of the Year when they won the tournament championship and went to the NCAA tourney for the first time in 16 seasons.
Yeah, it's impressive. I mean, to be honest with you, ECU is back on the map for women's basketball because of Coach McNeil.
She's had success wherever she's been. She was the head coach at Hartford when she took the Hawks to the WNIT. Some great experience on the staff at Virginia, and that's where her relationship with Coach Staley developed. Of course, Virginia, the alma mater of Don Staley.
Yeah, she's got a great pedigree of winning basketball and also has Coach Staley as a solid mentor to kind of help her, you know, maneuver through, you know, the layout of college basketball.
Full Wiley. What a great feed. Tack unable to finish. And here's Miller the other way. Kai Miller, sophomore guard out of Woodbridge, Virginia. Now it's Hageman. Ten seconds for Miller. Hutton tries to kick it back out to Miller. It's deflected by the Gamecocks. It'll stay with East Carolina, but just 2.9 remaining on the shot clock.
In South Carolina, you can definitely tell they did their scout on ECU and trying to figure out what they want to do offensively, and that's the goal. Whatever makes you comfortable, take that away and see if they have another alternative.
Over the hands of Weish. And it's Gamecocks basketball. 9th turnover for the Pirates. Last season, South Carolina defeated East Carolina 73-36 in Greenville. It was a tough offensive game for the Pirates. They shot just 19.4% from the field against this Gamecocks defense last season.
Well, this season, I mean, well, this game, they're struggling to get the ball at the basket. They haven't had many attempts, and a lot of that is because they haven't been able to get their sets run.
Edwards, a spin move. She'll draw contact.
And Joyce Edwards is such a special player. You're starting to see more and more of her offensive bag as she gets more comfortable in the system. Finding those areas where she can get isolations like we just saw and draw fouls and get herself to the line.
She's a 67% free throw shooter so far this season. Had a really nice debut against Michigan, 10.7 boards. Then got the start against NC State. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 steals in that one. And I already mentioned the 10.6 rebound performance on Thursday against Coppin State. 2024 Gatorade National Player of the Year. Coming off a season, John, where she averaged 31 and 13 for Camden.
Made it look easy. I mean, honestly, it just was. She should have been in college 2 years ago. When I watched her 2 years ago, I was just like, I don't even know why she's here. Because she was ready.
She was in high school 2 years early. She played varsity for Camden in 7th grade.
Yeah, maybe that's why I've seen her so long.
This is Sania Johnson. She's denied by Edwards. Time running down on her. She throws it up. And it's a shot clock violation. And the 10th turnover for East Carolina. Another look at the defense from Edwards.
And what you're seeing is ECU just start to try to barrel the head down and see if they can get some success. But nothing like playing against your best version of competition to get you ready and also to show you things about yourself that you can work on. Like against South Carolina, you can't go rogue or renegade against them. You have to make sure that you are disciplined, running through your system, and then trusting what Coach McNeil is giving you.
100 minute remaining in the first. 13-point lead for the Gamecocks. Pow's open. She drills the three.
It's too much time, too much space for Tahina Pow. I mean, once she gets her feet set, her shoulders square, that's a basket.
7 points for Pow. The Gamecocks have 16 points off East Carolina turnovers. Bobby Smith. This is Joyner. Drives baseline. Draws the foul. Taking another look at the three from Pow.
Pow on that nice little bat screen from Chloe Kitts. And was able to get herself nice, easy, and square. Knock herself down. A rhythm three.
Any bit of room, John, for Pow is too much room, right?
You're guarding her out the parking lot, nose to nose.
She came in today a 44% three-point shooter. Hit for a 46.8% clip last season. That was good for third in the nation. Joyner. Gets the bounce on the second. Pressure from the Pirates. For Wiley. And a turnover for South Carolina. Here comes Bobby Smith up ahead. Pulls up. Misses everything. And South Carolina basketball with 3.5 remaining in the quarter. From Raven Johnson, and that's how the quarter will end. A dominant first quarter for the South Carolina Gamecocks. They lead East Carolina 20-5.
We're so confident in the capability of our SUVs and the performance of our sedans that we offer a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty on every vehicle in our lineup.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing that pointed out to me was Coach Dawn asking to take a picture with her kids. And that's what's awesome. I remember when we got on our first Zoom call with Dawn, my daughter walked by. And Dawn said, "Is that your daughter?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my daughter." And she was just like, "Let me talk to her." And she spoke with my daughter as if she was a grown-up. Now she's thinking that she wants to play basketball for Dawn Staley. And so, you know, those kind of interactions with people that are bigger than life, like Dawn, can go a long way.
As Coach McNeil mentioned to us, just a great person with a big heart, loves everyone. And Coach McNeil loves how she's advocating for women's basketball. So for them to come to Greenville last year was huge. A lot of the top teams don't want to go on the road and play a mid-major. She wants to do whatever she can to put people in the stands. Last year, East Carolina sold out when South Carolina went up to Greenville. Sold out today against the Pirates. One of 5 sellouts already announced for this season. Fouls on Joyner. Picks up her first. Sends Kitts to the line. This is the first. Kitts now 7 for 9 from the charity stripe this season. 19 points and a career-high 14 boards against Michigan. 19 points and 10 boards against Coppin. 2 double-doubles already this season for Kitts, who's fighting on the floor. Wrestles it away, and a jump ball is called.
Yeah, and that's what makes Chloe Kitts so special. Even though nothing positive came from the play for her, her ability to keep the ball alive, her ability to stay in attack mode, always hunting for those basketballs, always hunting for opportunities to score. That's what makes her so dynamic for the Gamecocks.
And she'll get a rest, replaced by Ashlyn Watkins. A whistle that's going to go against Mylasia Full-Wiley. She picks up her first. You saw Kitts' ability to wrestle and fight for the ball, John. She credited her work in the weight room with the improvement this season.
Yeah, you can see the confidence, too. I mean, she's looking to get physical out there with people.
Joyner in some trouble. Another turnover for East Carolina. Fagan. McDaniel back to Fagan.
Fantastic defensive effort for South Carolina to be able to create an opportunity to get in the open floor and get an easy layup.
Convert on the 2-on-1, and the other way, it's Joyner.
Yeah, my Joyner, I mean, she hasn't been able to get herself going just yet, but when she does get herself in a rhythm, she's good. She's scary out there.
Full-Wiley, another gorgeous feed, this time to Fagan.
Yeah, Full-Wiley, a second ago, showed that she's willing to take the floater. That next time around, the defender made sure to jump up on it, and right there, Fagan was wide open for that layup, and she dished it off to her.
On their 11 field goals, John, South Carolina has 9 assists.
Sharing the ball, man. Sharon's caring, Dave.
Joyner's spin move draws the foul. And my Joyner will head to the line for ECU. Defense into offense here.
Defense leading the offense. And all you're doing is seeing South Carolina, when they can use that size, length, and athleticism in the open floor, it's deadly for their opponents.
Fouls on Fagan. She picks up her first. Sends Joyner to the line, where she's 1 for 2 so far today. This is the first. Joyner averaging 8.7 points, 9 rebounds. She's a double-double machine. She's averaging 11.5 and 9.8 for her career. She's the first Pirate to record 2 300-rebound seasons ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why she was voted second team All-American in the conference, is because she really knows how to impact the game with her scoring ability. I mean, she can do a little bit of everything, not just the scoring. I mean, she crashes the boards, gets second chance opportunities, but also on the defensive end, limiting teams to one and done.
Gamecocks 1 and done on that possession. Johnson pulls up, in and out. Rebound for Watkins, and McDaniel looks to push. Watkins off the glass. 6 points now for Ashlyn Watkins. And the Gamecock lead is 20.
Yeah, and that last one wasn't even a turnover. It was just a missed shot where ECU just didn't get back on defense in time.
Another turnover. Fagan will lead the rush. Bree Hall. Five points for Hall. Timeout, ECU.
And you see it, South Carolina's just getting after it in the open floor because of their defense. See Ashlyn Watkins finishing, showing that touch around the basket as she's developed through the years here at South Carolina.
The Gamecocks are dominating so far. They lead at 29-7. Coach Staley has to like what she's seen from her team. Speaking about what she's liked so far this season, John, she said, I like when they're focused. They're not relying on just being talented. She said it's a very unselfish group, a very connected group. They like each other, like spending time with each other off the floor. They're really happy for each other on the floor. She said, I like their development and progression, and I like that they communicate. Everyone feels like one of the girls. Coach Daly said, I sit back and I watch that, and I love the dynamic of them opening up to each other and growing, and that's just a coach's dream.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and you got to tip your hat off to Coach Dawn Staley with what she's been able to do in bringing in year after year top players in the country that have been the leading scorers on their teams, the leading everything on their teams, and then coming into South Carolina and buying into the system, playing together, sharing the ball, moving it, playing as a unit, and it's led to championships. That is the hard part about this, is that she's been able to get high school All-American after high school All-American, Gatorade Player of the Year after Gatorade Player of the Year, and find ways to get them to buy in. Not only just the players, but the families. Everybody is on board with Dawn Staley's mission.
One of those players who has certainly bought in is Tahina Powell, who has 7 points already today. She's 3 for 4 from the field, 1 for 2 from behind the arc. She's doing it defensively as well, John.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's just such a balanced player as far as defensively stopping whoever she's got in front of her, rotating on help, but also on the offensive end, showing her ability to shoot the three. But then when you get on her on the three-point line and try to crowd her, she can also get to the mid-range and floater. And so she's just added more to her game as she's blossomed here at South Carolina.
Came over from Oregon a season ago, but she brings experience, calm, poise. Been here before, done that before. And she's someone, John, that's going to have the ball at the end of basketball games. People are going to try to take it out of her hands, but they want the ball in her hands because she's delivered for them so many times before.
Well, she's got that X factor of just scoring when the lights are on, finishing when the popcorn's popping, if you will. She knows how to take on the big moments in stride. Got a superstar in here.
Looking like a superstar, too.
Miss Asia Wilson. Look at that. I mean, what a fantastic superstar. You got her whole statue out front. I mean, she's in her living room right now.
Enjoying what she's seeing. Here's a little Asia reference for you. The first South Carolina player to start the season with consecutive 15-point and 10-rebound games since Asia Wilson, who did it in 2017-18 season. That's Chloe Kitts this season. Chloe so far hasn't scored, but she does have 3 rebounds. Gamecocks lead 29-7. Herb. That's blocked by Watkins. McDaniel brings it up for the Gamecocks.
And one thing that South Carolina brings on the defensive end is that you second guess yourself offensively.
Hall. Her shot no good. And Joyner brings it up for the Pirates. Hageman checked by Pow Pow. Finds Herb. Hall got a piece of that. All over Jayla Herb, who's averaging 16.7 per game so far this season. Watkins against Joyner. Fagan the follow-up. She draws the foul.
Fagan did a great job of crashing after Ashton Watkins, you know, missed her layup there. And that's what makes South Carolina so deadly. I mean, the size, but also the tenacity when it comes to crashing the boards. It's unparalleled.
First free throw attempt of the day for Sanaya Fagan. She's 4 for 5 on the season. For Wiley checks back in. She replaces Pow Pow. Fagan hits the first. Had 4 points on Thursday against Coppin. 6 points, 8 boards, and 3 blocks against NC State. Her numbers have gone up each year in points and rebounds. Most of her action, of course, coming off the bench first few seasons, John, but she's been starting this season. And she'll have even better opportunity to increase those numbers here in her senior year.
And to her defense, she was coming off the bench behind, you know, Aaliyah Boston one year, Cardozo another year. And so it's not, she's just waiting her time until she gets to her opportunity, and she's making full well of that opportunity.
Yeah, her time is now. Speaking of opportunities, there's Weish. She's got 4 points. Edwards.
Joyce Edwards is a unicorn out there.
Running the floor is Kaya Miller. Her first basket of the afternoon. For Wiley for 3. Off the mark. Watkins trying to track it down, but it ends up in the possession of Tillman. Hageman will back out. Joyner lost the handle, and it's Edwards the other way. McDaniel, the hesitation, the move inside, and the finish.
Right there, you got to see a little bit of Daniels' prowess and the ability to handle the ball and manipulate defenders. What a shifty move.
The foul's going to be called on Kaya Miller, her first. Another look.
Got a freezer right there. Pump fake, get her through, lay. Beautiful move.
Maddie McDaniel, freshman guard from Maryland, finishes the three-point play. They call her a pass-first point guard, John, but she's got an offensive game as well, no doubt.
Well, yeah, absolutely. She's a true point guard. She wants to get her team in system, but also recognizes the opportunities given based on what the defense is giving her, and she's going to take full advantage.
On the rebound, foul's going to be called on Kaya Miller, who picks up her second. She fouled Bree Hall. Raven Johnson checks back in for the Gamecocks, who lead 36-11. She replaces McDaniel. Gets a nice hand from this sold-out crowd. Bobby Smith back in for the Pirates. She'll replace Kaya Miller, who has 2 fouls. Bree Hall to the line. Two for 2 on the season from the charity stripe. 2 for 3 now.
Did you jinx her?
I hope not. I don't want anyone blaming me. 8 points and 6 rebounds on Thursday against Coppin. This is them both. And the foul's going to be called on Edwards. She picks up her second. Ware is checked in for the Pirates. Senior guard out of Chicago, Illinois. South Carolina has a 25-point lead with 4:21 left to go in the first half. Chloe kicks back in. Edwards will get a rest with her 2 fouls. Third game of the season for Ware. Swings it to Tillman. Tillman, a tough shot. Tried to save it. It's South Carolina basketball.
And you're seeing it still. ECU has not settled down yet against this pressure that South Carolina's been throwing at them.
For Wiley, a turnover, and it's Ware the other way. Here's the 3rd turnover for South Carolina. For Wiley with the steal. And the finish.
Yeah, Mylasia Full-Wiley was not feeling the fact that she had gotten herself a turnover there. She said, I understand now. I got to get that back.
That's exactly what she did. Averaging 15 points per game so far this season, coming off that 23-point performance against Coppin on Thursday. She had 18 last Sunday against NC State. Hits, denies the entry to Hutton. And for Wiley and Dowda not on the same page there.
Well, that no look even shook up Dowda as far as her thinking that, oh, well, she's about to pass it this way, and totally didn't even look at the ball.
Under 3 minutes remaining in the half. Johnson stays with Ware. Herp will try a 3. Off the mark. Rebound for Dowda. But a whistle looks like it's going to go against the Gamecocks. Well, check that. It's going to go against ECU. And Anjanae Hutton. She picks up her first foul. A grad forward out of Dallas, Texas. I'll put Chloe Kitts at the line. Drains the first. Kitts hits them both. South Carolina's up to 40. They lead 40-11 over East Carolina. Ware around the screen. Joyner backing down Kitts. Misses everything. Gamecocks look to push. Pow. Up to Kitts.
South Carolina running the floor. You got 5 Gazelles on the floor at a time. Transition defense better be on alert.
4 points, 3 boards now for Chloe Kitts. Gamecocks are on a 9-0 run. Herp has been kept off the score sheet. She's their leading scorer. John's player to watch. Herp, no good. A rebound for Dowda.
And she's been hunting for those shots. But at the end of the day, with the length of South Carolina, it really has been disrupting her.
Johnson will set it up. Raven Johnson on the drive. Joyner over Kitts.
Yeah, Joyner using her size, her shoulders to be able to get a little bit of space to get that shot off.
Pow baseline in the corner. This is Hall. Offensive rebound for Fagan. And she draws the foul.
Yeah, Dowda getting that second chance opportunity. But also you're seeing South Carolina get their bread and butter in the open floor. Kits first, corralling the ball back in, putting it up for the left. And you see Raven Johnson turning the corner and finishing fearlessly.
Free throw good from Dowda. 11 different Gamecocks have scored in this half, including the junior forward out of Bentonville, Arkansas. Dowda had 10 and 8 against Coppin State on Thursday.
And that's what you want with your depth, is balance. And you don't recruit all these highly touted players not to play them. And the thing is that South Carolina, at any given night, it could be anyone that could give you trouble.
Unable to get it inside to Joyner. Instead, it's Herp. Ran into traffic and drew the foul.
You could see how exhausted Herb looks. She has been fighting for her life, and I like her resolve as far as, even though she's gotten stopped a few times, gotten her shot blocked, she continues to keep going, because in this is a lesson. She gets to learn. She gets to learn against the best. Well, this didn't work. What will work? And so she's just constantly trying to force the issue there.
She's 0 for 7 from the field, but scores her first point from the line. Herp has been back with a vengeance after missing last year with an injury. I mentioned earlier, averaging 16.7 per game. And, you know, you go back to March 9th, 2023 in Fort Worth, Texas. That was the night ECU defeated Houston to win the American Athletic Conference Tournament Championship and punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 16 years. It was a really bittersweet night for Jayla Herp. This was the night that she injured her knee, actually twice. Early in the first quarter, she collided with a Houston player, landed uncomfortably. She thought she broke her leg, came out, they evaluated her. She was able to run down the hallway to the team's locker room, backpedal, and do everything. So the knee seemed intact, and they cleared her to return. And because it was a championship game, she was going to go back in. She did so in the second quarter, and when she went to make a move around a Houston defender on a fast break, she felt that pop. Had tears in her eyes when she told Coach McNeil she was done. So it was a night that ended in ecstasy for ECU, but tragedy for Herp, who was on crutches while everyone was celebrating, couldn't even climb the ladder to cut down a piece of the net for herself. Didn't get to play in the tournament. But now her redemption story, her vengeance year. And what a start to the season it's been for Herp. She's led the Pirates in scoring in all 3 games.
Yeah, it's been that's a fantastic story, but you also get to see how hard she's had to work to come back, and she's come back and been able to provide great minutes and points for ECU.
Another look at the and run for Raven Johnson.
Yeah, Raven Johnson just using her strength there to get her shoulder past her defender and finish strong over him.
Finishes the 3-point play. 5 points for Johnson. The last opportunity for Ware. And it won't go. And South Carolina shoots 52.9% in the first half. They forced 15 turnovers, John, on the other end. Just a complete offensive and defensive effort for the Gamecocks.
That's what raises my eyebrows, is the 15 turnovers created in one half. Most of the time you'll see good teams commit that many, below that many in games, in an entire game. So you're seeing South Carolina put it all together in a half. It's scary work.
And they have 25 points off of those turnovers. Well, it's halftime here in Columbia. South Carolina's been dominant. They lead East Carolina 49-15.
You have an undefeated South Carolina team looking for redemption, and an Iowa team led by a star unlike any we have ever seen.
Johnson picks the pocket of court. What a momentum buster to end the half.
This year's South Carolina team has multiple consistent, efficient weapons.
Perfection with a touch of sweet redemption. Undefeated South Carolina has won its 3rd national championship.
halftime in Columbia, South Carolina and East Carolina from Colonial Life Arena. Dave and John, and back with you. What a season it was. Their third championship in the last 7 years, but it was historic, John. 38-0.
You're definitely right there. A historic journey for the Gamecocks. Taking it a day at a time, making sure that they put in daily deposits so that they could get a big withdrawal by cutting down those nets and being national championships last year.
Regular season champs, tournament champs, and national champs. Always difficult to repeat. It's something that's uncommon. That's the theme this season for South Carolina. Coach Staley was asked about repeating as champions at Media Day. Here's what she had to say.
I mean, it's so hard to repeat because, you know, the mountain that you climb, there's another one. There's another one that's lined up right behind it. You have the target on your back, and either you can be in a position to handle it or not. It's hard. It's very, very hard. But we're not going to think about the championship that we just won. I think everybody else is probably going to, you know, bring that to the forefront. This team hasn't even thought about it. This team hasn't practiced like they practice like they haven't won. So it's pretty cool to see their evolution of how they approach things. But they play with a certain fearlessness and no pressure and free. And I've said this before: free, wrong, and free right. You never know what side of the bed they wake up on, but you know what's consistent is their ability to compete in a healthy way within our practice, and then we find a way to come together as a team when there's opposition other than us.
And here's who has done it. Some dynasties in women's college basketball. The last team to repeat, John, the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, absolutely. And all these teams that have repeated have a formula. And I think Coach Don Staley has a formula as well. And since we're on the topic of Thanksgiving, my mom always told me, your eyes can't get bigger than your stomach. You got to take it one course at a time. You got to hit that turkey. You got to hit the stuffing. You got to hit the mac and cheese, the greens. You got to slowly but surely get to it before you're full too early and you miss dessert. And so with South Carolina, they're going to take it, like we talked about before, a day at a time, understanding that each day, as long as you get 1% better, you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, a course at a time, a day at a time. How about a game at a time? Let's take a look at their notable non-conference matchups this season. A loaded schedule, John.
Absolutely, and obviously you want to battle test yourself. You want to harden yourself to be properly prepared for the NCAA tournament so that you can go out and represent the best way that you possibly can. But it only starts with challenges, and that's what South Carolina has on this schedule.
And some highly ranked teams on this list. Another tough slate for the South Carolina Gamecocks. It's halftime in Columbia, and we'll be back with highlights and stats right after this. we apologize for the technical difficulties. Appreciate you staying with us. South Carolina leads East Carolina 52-19. Sanaya Fagan just picked up her second foul of the day. Joyner's been impressive in this second half. Misses on that attempt. My Joyner has 9 points and 4 rebounds for East Carolina.
Yeah, my Joyner has been one of the only offensive bright spots for ECU in today's game. Really just been, whenever she's gotten some duck-in actions or has had isolations without double teams, she's been in good shape.
And she was the highest ranked recruit in program history. 4 stars on ESPN in their recruiting rankings. Checked in at number 69 nationally. Oh, great ball movement from South Carolina. A wide open look for Johnson, in and out.
Yeah, beautiful offense for South Carolina. Shot just didn't fall for Raven Johnson, but that's the shot you want her to take every time she gets 2 feet to the line like that.
So for 3 from behind the arc. She does have 5 points so far today. She's all over Sania Johnson. Can't get it inside to Joyner. Instead, it's Herp on the drive. Misses the layup, but the follow-up is good for Talia Weish. She's got 6. She had a double-double in the season opener against Charleston Southern, 12 points and 10 rebounds. She's a career high in both categories. Fagan is fouled.
That's one thing about Weish and Joyner is their hands. They have great hands. Soft hands that catch everything, create the ability to get themselves second chances. Good solid post play down there.
Well, it's substitution 5 for South Carolina. Watkins, Edwards, Dowda for Wiley. Who am I missing? McDaniel, all in for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Don is platooning at this point.
So she brings in another unit, up 52-21. Maddie McDaniel, Dowda. Good look inside to Edwards. The defense was there from Talia Weish.
And Dowda was just a tad bit late on that pass. And the thing is that when you're making those passes, it's got to be early and on time.
7 seconds on the shot clock for South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins, the turnaround.
Talk about Ashlyn Watkins' touch around the basket. She's really been working on that. You can tell, like, every year she's gotten a little bit better. When she first got there, she was just kind of didn't have that touch around the basket, and now you're starting to see it every year.
And she's 4 for 5 from the field, 8 points. And you talked about it earlier, John, that go-to player previously, Aaliyah Boston inside.
Yeah.
Camila Cardoso inside. Maybe Ashlyn Watkins can be that go-to in the post this season for South Carolina as she continues to develop her offensive game.
Well, yeah, we talk about the offensive balance, right? Not just between players scoring a certain amount of points, also about positions. So in the post area, you have to be able to impact the game. And if you can impact the game in the post, it makes it so much easier for the perimeter game to flourish. And so you got to have somebody down there that can be established in understanding that they demand double coverage, they demand triple coverage, and because then you have a numbers advantage offensively. So you want to have somebody, and I think it could be her. I mean, not from a dribbling and posting up type of situation, but more of maybe in a duck-in action, a face-up, getting by somebody as she continues to grow.
Collision between Wiley and Herp. And a foul will be called on for Wiley, who picks up her second. Well, South Carolina has a ton of talented forwards who can all do that, John. Watkins, we've seen what Joyce Edwards can do. Fagan, Chloe Kitts, of course.
Yeah, Dowda. I mean, you've got a myriad of different players that can take over the helmet, and maybe it's not just one person. Maybe it's collectively. Maybe it's 6 points from Watkins, 6 points from Fagan, 6 points from Edwards.
And one for Wiley. The Foul will be called on Kaya Miller. She picks up her third.
And so that just talks about the prowess of South Carolina's defense. I mean, they've come out on fire with tenacity and force and really being extremely physical with ECU. And you can definitely tell that there's a respect in that because ECU brings a lot to the table physically, athletically, and size-wise. And so they definitely gave them their best punch.
And they've taken those turnovers and converted it into instant offense.
Absolutely. You could see that South Carolina, as soon as they're able to get out in the open floor, get the opportunity, they are gone and out for the races because not only are they tall, they have a ton of speed on their arsenal. And so right now they're just taking full advantage of it. And the easiest point is a 2.
And the ball movement off the turnovers, it's been so good as they get into their transition offense, John. I think the best transition team in the country.
Absolutely. And how can you become the best transition team in the country is you got to get stops. You have to be able to be a defensive nightmare out there to create that kind of chaos we were talking about that ECU wants to try to create, where you can get constant movement in the open floor, where you don't have to go against a half court. And this is why you know that most teams want to slow it down against South Carolina and lengthen out the possessions is because they're one of the fastest teams in the nation.
And their fastest player at the free throw line right now, Malaysia Fulwiley. Gamecocks lead 57-21. Johnson is scoreless so far this afternoon. Where the scoop shot, it won't go. Watkins lost it out of play, so it'll go back to East Carolina. And when I say Johnson, I mean Sania Johnson for East Carolina. And she's an important player, John. I'd like to get her going here in the second half.
That's the Capitan right there on this team. And obviously she brings a lot to the table. And most of the time you want your captain to be your floor general, an extension of the coach. And so, you know, when she goes, the team goes.
She's a 3-year captain for the Pirates. With the basketball currently, Sania Johnson. And a turnover here. It's Maddie McDaniel. Feeds a fellow freshman in Edwards. Rare shot that doesn't go in transition. Miller, the turnaround. Off the mark. And rebound for Dowda. McDaniel behind Fulwiley. Those two not on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the Wold and Sikkim idea, right? You rather have them going full pace, full speed. Make the mistakes now, all right? So get the chemistry going now. And so you learn, gain chemistry through, you know, mistakes like that.
That's a talented freshman and a talented sophomore. What a duo they can be for years here in Columbia. Hutton. Closely guarded by Watkins. Miller. Ball flies out of bounds into the seats. Another turnover for the Pirates, their 18th. And the balance scoring continues for South Carolina. Watkins and Fagan, each with 8, 25 points off the bench. Of course, their bench, John, could be a starting lineup for most teams.
Most teams. I mean, it could be a starting lineup at any moment here at South Carolina. Imagine how fun those practices have to be.
And competitive.
That's what I mean. Fun is competitive in my world, you know. So when you look at every day you're going against top-tier players, you have no choice but to get better.
Well, that's why these seniors are so good, right? Because they spent a couple years getting better, going up against the Aaliyah Bostons, the Bree Beals, the Camila Cardosos.
Yeah, man, imagine getting whooped every day by those players. WNBA players, elite players. You have no choice. It's going to happen.
The basket inside for my Joyner. And she's got 11. Another substitution 5 for Dawn Staley. She brings back Fagan Kitts, Raven Johnson, Bree Hall, and Zena Pow. Tied up on the floor. And that possession now in favor of South Carolina. Their leading scorer, Jayla Herp, averaging over 16 per game, but just 2 today, and both points have come from the free throw line. She's 0 for 9 from the field.
Right, and she's been in attack mode. It's just the defense of South Carolina's guard play is something to marvel. I mean, they know how to guard everyone. I mean, you're looking at Raven Johnson, who's been guarding her a handful of times, and Mylasia Fulwiley. I mean, they're taking it as a job to see who can do the better regarding making sure that they contain her. Yeah, and I remember when I played against certain players in our conference that were really good, and me and other players that played the same position would chomp at the bit to guard them. And then, you know, in the locker room say, well, they didn't score on me, you know, things like that. And so that's respect right there. That's just understanding that when you have the task of being one of the top scorers, you're going to get the top defenders on you.
And we gave you her injury story in the first half, but easily someone to root for this season, whether you're a Pirates fan, a Gamecocks fan, or just a basketball fan.
Oh, yeah.
Jayla Herp.
Yeah, like, I mean, you watch her and how she plays. I mean, she competes. I love it about her as far as, like, she has not stopped going at South Carolina, and that's the response that you want. And she doesn't mind, you know, the level of play. She's just looking at it like, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to try to find another way.
That shot didn't work against Bree Hall. She's been outstanding defensively for the Gamecocks, as usual.
And you got to think about this, too. Like, when they start to get into conference play, it's nothing like playing against South Carolina to get you ready for that. And when you say, okay, well, I went against this, you're hardened by it, you're better by it, and then you play against somebody at a lower level and you're just like, I can beat that. I can win against that.
Well, stoppage in the action here with 2:20 left to go in the third. South Carolina leads East Carolina 59-23.
The thing about favorites is
they were just figuring out who the shooter would be at the line. It's going to be Sanaya Fagan. Let's take a look at East Carolina's SEC transfers. The Weiss twins from Florida, Ware played at LSU, and Kamora Jenkins, who played at UGA. All former SEC players now, John, at East Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that means that they have, you know, some association with the SEC and understand the level. But even at the end of the day, I mean, it's nothing like South Carolina, man.
They've all had experience playing against South Carolina. First, of course, in the SEC, and then those who were there last season, like the Weiss twins, at this non-conference matchup up in Greenville. Fagan good from the line. South Carolina leads 61-23. 10 points now for Sanaya Fagan. Fagan, the freshman guard out of Detroit. Check by Raven Johnson. Gets help from Weiss. Miller. And a steal for Raven Johnson. Johnson will take it herself. No good. Pow the follow-up. 9 points for Tina Pow.
Yeah, just another fast break opportunity for South Carolina. Just being early and often on defense, shooting that gap. You saw Raven Johnson just already there before the pass even got to her.
Joyner is the leading scorer today with 11. This is the short one. Johnson kicks it out. Pow swings it to an open Hall.
You said the short one. The 6'2" one.
From in close. Miller. Sania Johnson. Joyner takes the three. It's short. A rebound for Kitts, who looks to push. Give and go with Pow.
Love to see it. Great movement there. Kitts recognizing. And she passed it before the defense got to her. And sometimes people take that extra dribble that usually gets them in trouble. She did not. She got rid of it early.
9 points, 5 rebounds for Kitts. Gamecocks are on an 8-0 run. Bree Hall nails the three.
Bree Hall said, "You're giving me too many of these corner threes."
Hall's got 10. Her second made three. Unable to get it inside to Joyner, who was asking for it. 10 seconds. Johnson in trouble. Gets it to Joyner, and she converts.
Yeah, my Joyner, we talk about it, that offensive bright spot for ECU. They have to have more help.
Fagan off the mark, and that's how the third.
Trust the process, sacrifice for the greater good of the team, and understanding that their commitment will lead to both their individual goals and the team's dreams. As if that wasn't uncommon enough, the Gamecocks today will go for their 60th first straight win at home. Guys.
Thanks, Caden. They're doing it in front of the first of 5 sellouts already announced this season. And that's what's been uncommon as well, John, the fan support. Coach Staley said it's a tribute to what has happened here in Columbia. It's not a common thing that we're on a 60-game home winning streak. She said, I wanted to win national championships here. I didn't know what it would look like. I didn't see a sold-out arena. I was narrow-minded in trying to put a product on the floor and didn't look at the external and peripheral, but people here have created something beautiful that can only organically happen. It wasn't forced, and when it happens that way, it certainly lasts much longer.
Absolutely. I mean, you look in this building, I mean, the top bowl is full. I mean, there are people out here screaming, going crazy, and that is because of Coach Staley's just impact in this program from when she first got here, and slowly but surely just building the audience up as time progressed.
There's Zach with the bucket for the Gamecocks. A turnover here, and it's Edwards who leads the push. Edwards takes it herself.
That's what makes her such a unicorn. She can adapt in mid-dribble based on what they're giving her.
Open underneath. That was Joyner. Joyner has 17 for the Pirates. 17 of the 29. Pow the floater. Won't go. Ten seconds for East Carolina. This is Herp. Weiss for three. That's good.
Yeah, Weiss showing that ability to spread the floor. Got a big that plays off of her. That always makes her a deadly three-point shooter. She has to be that.
McDaniel to Zach. Timeout Pirates. 8:04 left to go. 14 steals today for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Joyce Edwards has one, and she turned the steal into points, John.
Yeah, she's showing her ability to display athleticism, finesse, touch, and that's not common to see from a 6'3" forward. And she can take it all the way 94 feet with a guard on her hip and still finish strong.
The number 2 recruit in the class of 2024. Edwards, a McDonald's All-American. She's played for USA Basketball, the women's under-18 national team. Staying home in the state of South Carolina to play for Coach Staley. Jayla Herp. Check by Hall. 5 seconds. And another turnover for the Pirates up ahead. It's for Wiley.
Malaysia for Wiley, a blur in the open floor. You saw that. Just stretched the arm out. Understood that in order to get that shot off over Weiss, who is 6'3", long and athletic, she had to stretch out and get it up there before she got a hold of it.
She beat Weiss down the floor. She beat Miller down the floor. She's got 8 points, looking for 9. In and out, but an offensive rebound for Chloe Kitts. She went down. Fans not happy with that here inside CLA.
It's just respectable that Chloe Kitts was able to get the rebound out of a free throw.
They get it to Edwards. 10 points now for the freshman Edwards.
Yeah, Joyce Edwards showing that touch around the basket like we talked about. Constantly working on that.
That was over Tatiana Weiss. A steal for Kitts. 2-on-1 here. Kitts finishes off the glass.
Yeah, beautiful finish there.
Kitts has 11. .38 points today off of turnovers, John, for South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be good for South Carolina to see this as well, as far as the fact that this is what defense can bring you. See Chloe Kitts getting out in the open floor. Little ball fake to Joyce Edwards and getting the defense to give her a little space so she could finish.
Coach Staley raved about Kitts in the post game on Thursday. For Wiley from the corner. She's short. And rebound for Ware. When talking about Kitts, she said, you know, when you put in the work and you see your work displayed in actual games, it gives you a confidence boost. She's increased her range. The three is much more fluid and comfortable. She knows how to play, knows how to pick and choose her spots. She's rebounding the basketball, playing at a really high level, and it's so good to see. And really, it's just the start of her 4th semester, so she's only a sophomore, really, if you think about it, although listed as a junior.
Yeah, and the thing about her, funny, like how we were just talking about that, but the thing about her is her tenacity. She plays with grit. She plays with the demeanor that nobody out here is going to outwork me. And you see it consistently when she plays out there. She can be outsized, all of that, and she can still win those battles. And so that is something that you can't really teach. You got to be born with that. That's a mentality that she's always had with her, you can tell.
Left. Ware checked by McDaniel. Now it's Mosley. Inside to Joyner. The spin move, the scoop.
Beautiful.
And the bucket.
My Joyner has been showing what she has in that paint area, a display of just skill.
And what she has is 21 points this afternoon against this Gamecocks defense. Walker. In and out. The follow-up is good.
And Walker just staying true to the move itself, getting herself that second chance opportunity.
Everyone has scored for South Carolina. Miller. Ten seconds for Ware. She's guarded by Johnson. Johnson stays with Ware. Pirates running out of time. Joyner. A rebound for Maddie McDaniel.
It's a great box out from Maddie McDaniel.
For Wiley, an open look for Walker.
Bill Wiley's court vision is unmatched. Always looking for her teammates, knowing that because of her speed, because of her versatility, she's going to draw double coverage.
Timeout East Carolina's Gamecocks lead 87-36. And here's what Sakima Walker has done off the bench last couple of possessions, John.
Yeah, just being available, showing that little touch around the basket. You can tell that their post players, all of them, work to make sure that they not only can make layups, but they can make those areas that defenses are going to try to push them to.
And all that returning production for South Carolina. Sakima Walker, one of those returning players. And Coach Daly said she's really been improving. And with the type of bigs that they have to pick and choose according to how they prepare and who's going to get the nod. But Sakima's been doing some tremendous things. And Coach Daly said they're going to start, they were going to start her in the NC State game. Didn't really love the combination in prep, so they decided to go with Edwards and Fagan. But Coach Daly said, I knew she was ready to play, knew she was going to get some minutes, and she did well in that one. She's looking good here in the fourth quarter today.
And you can see just the capabilities, and this is what makes South Carolina so hard to scout for. Based on what you have, they may throw out a different lineup that is just as efficient that you might not be ready for based on the skills and gifts of the players that are out there on the floor.
And with Walker, in her bio while she was at Rutgers, when she started her collegiate career, it said the best player she ever played against was Zia Cook. It said her favorite player was Asia Wilson. So no surprise that she made her way to South Carolina.
Break the play. Don't break it.
Mosley. A whistle. I'll go against the Gamecocks. It's on Sakima Walker. She picks up her first. Sakima, of course, the daughter of Samaki Walker, who starred at Louisville, played 10 years in the NBA. Her brother's Jabari Walker, currently plays in the NBA for the Trailblazers.
It's pedigree right there, man.
Very talented one. Joyner. Jenkins. Not pleased with the call is Malaysia Fulwiley. She picks up the foul. That's her third.
I thought that was solid defense right there. I mean, that was a chest to shoulder situation, but great recovery.
Kimora Jenkins will be at the line looking for her first points of the afternoon. She had 3 points on Thursday against Furman. Those were the first of the season for Jenkins. In her third season at ECU, we showed on a graphic earlier, she spent her freshman year at Georgia. Played 8 games with the Bulldogs. And we saw her twin sister Kaya on Thursday night in the game against Coppin State.
Yeah, Jenkins has great length, quickness to her, solid first step. She plays hard.
Fulwiley feeds Edwards. She'll get the roll. 12 points for Joyce Edwards. Trying to deny Hutton. Hutton zips it past Joyner. It's deflected off of South Carolina.
You see Fulwiley getting to that lane, dumping it off to Joyce Edwards. Easy basket.
4 assists for Fulwiley. Almost had a steal. Instead, it's an open look for Jenkins. Too strong. The rebound from McDaniel. Should push. Maddie McDaniel. Coast to coast. Doesn't get Yan one, but she'll head to the line.
Yeah, Maddie McDaniels has got a little shake in that shiver, man. I love it. She gets in the open floor. It's going to be must-see. Nice crossover. Getting into the lane and putting a little English on there.
Doing a little bit of everything this afternoon. 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Looking for her 4th point. Bishop McNamara product. Misses both. Walker. ECU basketball. Hageman checks back in for the Pirates. 3:10 left. Hageman will bring the ball up. Detroit Edison Academy. Her sister Dee Dee was a second-team All-Big Ten player from Michigan State last year, now at Memphis. Joyner, checked by Walker. Joyner's been terrific for East Carolina. She has 23.
Yeah, my Joyner has a pro-level game. I mean, you can see it when she's in her isolated situation.
Here's the upcoming schedule for South Carolina. Next up, rivalry matchup, John, at Clemson on November 20th.
Yeah, Clemson's, you know, got a new coach out there, and Coach Poppy, but he's going to have his hands full with South Carolina. And then obviously, I mean, it's going to be battles. Love to see it.
Doesn't get any easier. They'll have number 5, number 8. The next 2 games after the Clemson matchup, which always has a lot of emotion.
Yeah, and you know, like, you could easily just sugarcoat a schedule just based off the recruits you have and not test them and not put them through something where they don't know how to battle in tooth and claw. But South Carolina has been doing this traditionally for years now, where they have to test their mettle so that they are ready for the NCAA.
When they have a season like last year when they went 38-0, no one can say they didn't earn it.
Yeah, and then here's the thing about Coach Staley. I mean, she doesn't care if they go undefeated as much as she cares that the development and the procedure to get to the final point is where it needs to be.
In and out on the second for Wiley. Joyner, we're going to take it to Edwards. Oh, Edwards denies Joyner. Daniel up ahead to full Wiley. Full Wiley for 3. That's good.
Great little 2-man game between Malaysia and Daniels, who were just trying to find that little open space between two, and a nice little fill and replace action there.
Malaysia has 12. Joyner has 25.
My Joyner in that bag, man. That's bag season for her. She's getting after it.
She's 12 for 20 from the field. Now a rebound.
And my Joyner's like, hey, let me get my ISOs in here.
Jenkins tried to get it to Joyner. Instead, it's a turnover. Johnson feeds full Wiley. Back to Johnson. It's short, but the tip is good. 7 points for Raven Johnson.
You can tell they practice that, can't you?
Approaching 1 minute remaining. $25 of the 42 points for ECU belong to My Joyner. She gets it inside to Hutton.
Great pass from My Joyner there.
First bucket of the day for Hutton. Former MEAC Rookie of the Year back in the 2020-21 season. She's guarding Edwards. Hutton goes down. Offensive foul. Well, credit ECU, John, still battling trailing by 51.
Honestly, that's why Hutton is out there right now. I mean, obviously, Coach McNeil, her thing was to see who's going to be out here and compete, who's going to be out here to battle. Hutton's been out there battling, working, getting on a few of the Gamecocks' nerves. You got to love it.
Hageman. Hutton. Hutton goes down. It's another turnover for the Pirates. And for Wiley can dribble it out here. Great hand from this sold-out CLA crowd, as South Carolina will defeat East Carolina 95-44. 42 straight wins for the Gamecocks. That ties a program record, John.
Absolutely. I mean, you love to see it. Coach Dawn Staley, what she's been working for years here in South Carolina, starting to come to fruition, but also get to see the depth of this South Carolina team and how special they could be this year.
They do it on both ends. They shoot over 50%.